Hi, I'm Suffer Jerome, and I am a horror writer, and I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I am gonna speak some thoughts about the upcoming Plan 9 from outer space, or is that Star Wars 9? A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, things are happening. Disney took over the Star Wars franchise about 4 or 5 years ago now, and we're starting to see how this is all shaking out. And a lot of us old time, long time fans are kind of scratching our heads with what's happening. I know a lot of fans are just outright furious and angry and are boycotting the franchise and have a lot of nasty things to say on YouTube. And I love watching all those YouTubes because they're pretty good and pretty funny. And most of their points are, in fact, very, very true. I am a longtime Star Wars fan. As we know, I saw the original Star Wars back in 1977 when I was a teenager, so I've seen a world before Star Wars and a world after Star Wars, and I believe the Star Wars phenomenon has had a very rich, deep, impactful, and positive imprint on our society at large. So when Disney bought the franchise a few years ago, I was of two minds because part of me thought, oh, that's fantastic because they got bazillions of dollars to do things and they'll get these movies out finally and we'll finally get to see what happens to Luke and Leia and Han and how their lives are going and what adventures they've been having and how many adventures they're gonna have and it's gonna be so fun. And then the other part of me was like, oh my God, I hope they don't Disneyfy it and take away all the violence and take away all the interesting elements and make it all bland and make Star Wars not the Star Wars gritty, grungy sort of movies we've come to love. So, kind of a hybrid of both has kind of happened. So, as we know, The Force Awakens. I didn't like it that much the first time I saw it. Then I went back and I liked it a lot. I tried to connect with it because I knew it was a trilogy and it was my beloved Star Wars. And I really tried to have an open mind to give it the benefit of the doubt. And I really enjoyed the character of Kylo Ren because I felt like he was a character that showed a lot of potential for growth because he didn't start off as the big bad villain. He started off as someone aspiring to be a villain. And I thought that was an interesting journey we could watch for 3 movies. I really enjoyed the fact that he had a he idol worshipped Darth Vader, even though we all know that Darth Vader turned to the light at the end of the original trilogy. So I found it curious and interesting that he was drawn to the dark side of what Darth Vader had done, and he wants to finish what he started. And he had his little altar with his Darth Vader helmet that he prays to or worships or whatever. And so for that, I thought that opened up so many possibilities. I figured in episode 7 we didn't have a lot of time to get into more about that because they had to reboot the franchise from being dormant for 30 years. So I thought for sure in episode 8 we would see Kylo speaking to the helmet more, or maybe it blew up on Starkiller Base, who the hell knows, I don't know. And that Darth Vader or Anakin would visit him as a Force ghost and say, "Don't be foolish," And then maybe Han Solo would visit him as a Force ghost. He'd be still doing the "I'm torn in half." However, I knew things were probably going to go wrong when Rian Johnson announced when they first started shooting that he was moving Kylo's scar, because to me, Kylo's scar, as hokey as it was, the symbolic significance of being torn in half when he was lasered in his right down his face, because he's torn in half. He's a two-face. He's conflicted, and that was very interesting for his character, if not, kind of stereotypical. But it was, it definitely made sense. And then Ryan moved the scar, and now it just looks like hockey tape on his face. I don't even understand it. But as we know, in The Last Jedi, we did not get to explore Kylo's personality much. And he was about the only character that really kind of grew and changed anyways in The Last Jedi. We found nothing out about Rey. Um, I don't believe for a minute that her parents are nobodies. I know we're going to find out her parents are like, you know, Obi-Wan or Palpatine or whoever. Maybe, you know, one thing that's amusing me now is that now we're 1 year before the next one. We're 1 year before episode 9, and we're 1 year away from episode 8. So we're kind of right in the middle. So people are getting excited again. They are. Everyone's kind of gone through their, oh, I love The Last Jedi, or I hate The Last Jedi. And people, you know, are done to death with all that. And now people are starting to get excited and actually are starting to make theories again, which I love that people are starting to do that again, because for so long it was just like, oh, I'm boycotting episode 9, I don't care anymore and all that. But now I'm starting to see people, okay, maybe raise this and that. I already know Kylo Ren's lying, and I also know that J.J. Abrams um, is going to try and put back a lot of the things Ryan Johnson took out, because not because it was Ryan Johnson screwing things up. It's because JJ wrote the original story and he knew what he had in mind for what he wanted the characters to do. And so he may retcon some things that Ryan Johnson did, or he'll just make it different, right? So I know that he's gonna make Luke back to who we all wanted Luke to be. Um, there are a million theories. I'm pretty sure he'll bring him back from the dead. I'm not sure that I care anymore, because I've spent a year being hugely upset that Luke Skywalker died for no reason. He had a heart attack 'cause he made a Skype call. Like, it just is stupid. He's been through so much more and it didn't kill him. He's not that old. He's been like hanging out on the island. We don't know why he was on the island. We don't know why he sent the map through BB-8. Well, he sent the map to what's his face at the beginning of Force Awakens, who gives it to Poe, puts it in BB-8. And there was a specific reason for that. So we may find out what that reason was, because Ryan Johnson didn't care what the reason was. He didn't even address it. And that was all. Yeah. So I'm hoping we get some more information about that. So we know Rey's parents are somebody's, and Rey and Kylo are related somehow. I know they must be, because it'll be like the Luke and Leia thing, where Luke's all in love with Leia, then it's their brother sister. So it'll be the same thing with Rey and Kylo, because so many people want them to be a romance. I don't. I think it's dumb that they would be a romance. I think Kylo knows who she is. He's known who she is all along. It's very obvious in The Force Awakens, and I've done so many videos about that he knew who she was. He's always known who she is. And that's also why he, you know, is a jerk and tells her she's nobody, because he knows who she is. Totally knows. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know what they're going to do with Leia. And now, apparently, rumors of a flashback with Luke, Leia, and Han together. Well, why didn't we have that in The Force Awakens? Why didn't we even see Luke in The Force Awakens? Yeah, so it'll be interesting. But it's funny because people are calling it Plan 9 from outer space. And if you've ever, if you watch me, you already know, because you're a horror fan, so you know the movie Plan 9 from Outer Space, and how it was Ed Wood movie. And what he had done was he had filmed some home movies of Bela Lugosi in Bella's last days, because Bella was a bad heroin addict and couldn't really deal with anything. And so he had all this weird footage of Bela Lugosi before he died, and then he cobbled together a movie which is called Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is, one of the worst horror movies ever made, because it's so bad. And it's bad. I've seen it a few times. And so now the reason why this, so we're going into episode 9 of Star Wars, and now they're apparently there's all this footage of Carrie Fisher from The Force Awakens that was never used. Now, I find this hard to believe, because when they put put out the DVD of The Force Awakens, they said there was no extra footage. All the unused scenes are, there's four of them or five, or I can't remember now. They said there's very little because everything was perfectly shot and there's no extra footage. But now suddenly there's all this mountains of footage of Carrie Fisher lying around just waiting to be used. And now they're going to try and this is one of the rumors. Who knows what's true? Because I'm trying not to read too much about the truth because I want to be surprised when I see the movie. But yeah, so they're going to cobble together old Carrie Fisher stuff and insert it in to episode 9, just like they did in Plan 9 from Outer Space. So it'll be interesting, and I think Carrie Fisher would get a good laugh out of that. And the Fisher estate has, in fact, authorized it. So it is happening, whether it's just a line or whether it's going to be tons of scenes or whatever. It'll be interesting. But I really hope they show Han and Leia when they have Kylo, like Kylo's baby, see what all that's about, how Kylo turned. So there must be more casting. The person who played Kylo as a boy in The Last Jedi, I guess will probably be in this. Anyway, so it'll be interesting to see what they do, where they go. I hope Luke's back as a person, not as a Force ghost. But again, it's just the whole thing's been devastating since Disney took over this franchise. I really feel like they fumbled it badly. I don't believe for a minute that the Solo movie tanked because people had Star Wars fatigue. It tanked because people were angry that Rian Johnson killed off Luke and then gloats about it on Twitter. Rian Johnson is a real jerk to those of us that had issues with his movie. Some of the other people who work for Disney and Star Wars are also really rude to the fans. And I guess this is one of the problems with social media now, is that there's no invisible barrier between the artist and the audience. And so us artists, me as well as a writer, we have to be prepared for people to actually tell us to our face that they hate our work and why they hate it. And instead of us going, oh, your theory sucks, or you're a man baby, or you're a racist asshole, we have to say, I hear you and understand why you hate my work, and I'm sorry. That's all you can say as an artist, because we all approach our art in different ways, and people will interpret our art in different ways. But you don't call people racist jerks because Rose Tico is a stupid character, because she is. It's nothing to do with her race, or that it's a woman, or that the actress was a wonderful actress. She's great. Kelly Marie Tran, she's fantastic. But the character itself is stupid. Just like Haldo is a stupid character that made no sense. It was awful. And nothing against Laura Dern. We all love her in Jurassic Park. All that. But it's like, no. Nothing to do with her being a woman. It's just a stupid character that came out of nowhere, did something really stupid in the Star Wars universe. It didn't even make sense, and so on. But as artists, we have to be prepared to take the criticism if we're gonna give our work to the public to enjoy. And when you're dealing with a franchise like Star Wars, whether you're an actor, a writer, the filmmaker, the director, the producer, the gaffer, whatever, people are going to have opinions on your Star Wars stuff. So you have to take it gracefully. There's a couple of you I'm looking at, and it's like, why are you such a jerk to the fans? Because the fans have been fans long before you created your little bit in your little bit into the universe, and we're allowed to have opinions. I'm not saying you have to do thing, because every fan has a different opinion, so you're not going to please everyone. You're not. You never will. But you have to acknowledge the fact that someone paid to see your work and has an opinion about it, and you can't just tell them to go F themselves, or sure, go ahead and boycott, because that's not professional. That's just being a jerk. As an artist, we all want to hear opinions so we can learn and grow. And, it'd be nice if Rian Johnson said at some point that he's sorry he killed Luke, for those of us that are devastated and don't see the point of it. Of course, when J.J. Abrams brings Luke's Luke back in episode 9, Ryan Johnson will say, "Oh, I knew all along he wasn't dead. I was just saying that because I wanted it to be a surprise for episode 9 and blah, blah, blah." He'll have all that crap. But I still am not even convinced that Mark Hamill knew that Luke died because of the way his face is in all those videos when he saw The Last Jedi. I'm not convinced because I've heard rumors too that Ryan Johnson decided to kill him in the editing room. I don't know if that's true. I don't know what's true. None of us know what's true. The only people who know what's true is Ryan Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy. Maybe they know what's true. The rest of us don't have a clue what's going on. We just can only interpret what we see at face value, and that's all we can do. And then we have opinions about it, and we're allowed to have those opinions. Okay, so anyways, that's my opinion on Plan 9 from Outer Space. Looking forward. What's your opinion? Give us comments. I love reading people's comments. No one ever comments, but so comment. Be nice. Give me your opinion. Then I'm an asshole too, right? Bye.